I saw this morning, haven't had a chance to talk about it until right now. I got distracted. But let me read this to you because this is super interesting stuff. It says Supreme Court seems ready to back web designer opposed to same-sex marriage. Now, the reason why this is relevant is for a few reasons. Let me read it to you, all right? Real quick. It says the Supreme Court's conservative majority seemed prepared on Monday to rule that a graphic designer in Colorado has a free speech right under the First Amendment to refuse to create websites celebrating same-sex weddings because of her Christian faith, despite a state law that forbids discrimination on sexual orientation. Such a ruling would be the latest in a string of victories for religious people and groups, especially Christian ones, at a court that has shifted to the right in recent years. It would also chip away at the right to same-sex marriage established in 2015, which two current justices have urged their colleagues to reconsider. So here's the thing about this story. It's multifaceted and it's very, very interesting because on the surface, it might just seem like a battle between a web designer not wanting to do a website for a gay couple. And listen, I'm in support of the web designer because I don't think that she should have to compromise her values, her beliefs, specifically her faith, in order to service a client. I mean, so here's the thing. Should everyone have equal access to the services that we need? Food, water, energy, gas, power, things of that nature, transportation, things of that nature, health. Absolutely. We should all have equal access to those things. But when we talk about a private business, especially when we talk about a private business who is specifically a Christian business with Christian values, because the thing that the secular world doesn't really understand is that we're Christians first. Although we may be in this example a graphic designer, she's a Christian first. Although you may be a baker or whatever profession, we hold ourselves to be Christians first, and then everything else comes next. So when a graphic designer is put in a position to use her God-given gift in order to glorify sin, obviously that's going to put her in a tough place. Obviously that's going to be a battle within her conscience, obviously. But the reason why this is so interesting is because I think it has bigger implications than what we just see right here. Because just like the article says, there's members within the Supreme Court who have mentioned reconsidering gay marriage. And a case like this could further indicate if that might be the case or not. Now, who knows? Maybe I'm looking too far into it, but we already see what happened with Roe v. Wade. No one thought that was going to, happen. Everyone thought it was just rumors when it took place. And then, Roe v. Wade came crashing down. A case like that, like this one right here, it might seem small, but it's already getting support from the Supreme Court. So that kind of indicates where their head is at. That kind of indicates where their thought process is at. And now, we have people who are freaking out. People within the LGBT community who are freaking out because they feel like this could be the case, that potentially the Supreme Court is going to reconsider gay marriage. Now, let me put that on pause for a second and let me show you the full story of the web designer, the Christian web designer. That way you can have some more context as to what I'm talking about.
The U.S. Supreme Court heard arguments in a case that will determine whether a business owner has a First Amendment right to deny service to certain customers based on the business owner's personal beliefs.
The conservative wing of the court seemed prepared to rule in favor of a Colorado web designer who doesn't want to create websites for same-sex couples. Fox's Lauren Blanchard reports.
Our rights are not.
Isn't that crazy? Hold on real quick. I know I'm getting sidetracked. This sign says there's no hate like Christian love. It's crazy the perception that the world has of Christians. And it's partly our fault, but also it's to be expected because the Bible tells us that the world is going to hate us. If they hated Jesus, they're going to hate us. But it's just so crazy the perception that they have. It's so crazy because this world, just like the sign says, there's no hate like Christian love. This world has perverted what love is. The idea that this world has of what love is a completely different concept entirely as to what love actually is in the Bible. Because love is not always comforting. You know, people in this world today, they just want us to comfort them. They just want us to be okay with any type of lifestyle. They just want us to suppress our faith and the good news that we have received from Jesus Christ. They want us to suppress that in order to make them feel comfortable. But that's not actually love. Because if you had a child who was acting out in school, who was stealing, who was doing a bunch of crazy stuff, getting in fights, would you not correct that behavior? Or would you continue to allow that child to go deeper and deeper onto that path of destruction? Because ultimately this world, they just want us to just turn a blind eye and just allow everyone just to go deeper and deeper onto the path of destruction. And people call it hate because we care, but it's actually love. And that's the perverted part. It's completely twisted upside down. But anyway, I digress. Let's get back to it.
A Christian graphic and web designer's case before the conservative-leaning High Court argues she should not be forced to create websites with messages that go against her faith.
The state of Colorado is compelling and controlling my speech, chilling it, and forcing me to communicate a message through my custom, unique artwork. That violates the core of who I am.
So that's a good point. They're forcing her to create a custom, unique message. Forcing her to create a message that violates her beliefs. But it's not like this is not like you're going to the grocery store and you're like buying an apple. If it's a creative service and a private business, you should have the right to refuse if that project is not aligned with your views. Just like, think about this. Say, for example, there was like a painter and this painter was really good at doing like, what's it called? Like murals and like stuff like that, like where they paint like huge pictures on the walls and stuff like that. And, you know, say that painter had their own business. Say you went to that painter and said, hey, I want you to draw me a 50-foot image of those Balenciaga pictures that just came out. You know which ones I'm talking about? The Balenciaga ones that just came out that everyone's mad about. What if somebody went to a painter and said, I want you to draw that on the wall? Would it be discriminatory of the painter to decline to provide that service? Or would they be in reason? Because that goes against their beliefs. That goes against their values. But, you know, it's just so interesting to me. Like, people, if somebody doesn't want to work with you, we'll just keep it real simple. If somebody doesn't want to work with me, then that's cool. We don't have to work with each other. There's other graphic designers. There's other service providers in the marketplace that I could go to, that I could seek. But the fact that they took it to this step, that they're suing and that they're bringing it to the Supreme Court, it's like, bruh, if she doesn't want to work with y'all, then just move on. It's not hate. It just goes against her faith. It goes against her values. Just move on.
Message through my custom, unique artwork. That violates the core of who I am.
Lori Smith wants to publicly market her wedding website services with the disclaimer that she won't create for same-sex couples. That goes against Colorado's Anti-Discrimination Act, which says if you offer a public service, it must be for all. Smith says she would work with the LGBTQ+ community on other projects, but any she perceives with an anti-Christian message, like atheism, pro-choice, or celebrating adultery, would be a no.
And that's exactly the point. It's not hate. Hey, I'm willing to collaborate with you on other projects. But if you want me to collaborate with you on a project that is glorifying sin that goes against my faith, against my religion, I can't do that. Like, I can't bow down to the golden statue. I can't do that. It's not hate. It's just, I can't do that.
Colorado declares her speech a public accommodation and insists that she create and speak messages that violate her conscience.
The state says siding with Smith would allow for discrimination, and businesses could refuse service based on sexuality, religion, race, age, and other protected characteristics.
This court should not upend long-settled law that protects the full and equal access of all Americans to our public marketplace.
Justice Sonia Sotomayor asking during the 2.5-hour arguments, where is the line?
What you're saying is, I want to give gay couples a limited menu, not a full menu.
The court's ruling is due by June next year. That is when they typically release a majority of their decisions. In Washington, Lauren Blanchard, Fox 4 News.
So, like I said, super interesting, just because of where the Supreme Court stands with it. You know, they're ready to support the Christian web designer. And maybe I'm looking too far into it, but it would seem that this case may have some other implications. And I don't want to get overly political because I know how divisive that could be. But this is just me just thinking out loud, like the article says, it would chip away at the right to same-sex marriage established in 2015, which two current justices. So it's interesting. So we'll see how this plays out. But what do y'all think? Like, because this could be a tricky situation, but as a Christian, if you have a Christian business and you have somebody that comes into your establishment and wants you to basically denounce your faith and go, basically, I look at it, and this might be extreme, but I look at it as like, bro, that's like the definition for me of like selling your soul. Like, people think like, oh, you're making a deal with the devil and stuff like that. Well, what does that actually look like in the real life? Well, that means compromising your beliefs, compromising your faith in order to make money. So as a Christian business owner, and I technically, I guess I would be considered a Christian business owner myself. If someone came to me and wanted me to compromise my beliefs, like, for example, if somebody came to me, and this is just an off the wall example, but if somebody came to me and wanted me to promote something on this channel that was, like something like promoting gay marriage, or like a gay marriage, like dating website or something, I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say. If somebody wanted me to promote something outside of what aligned with my values, and I said yes, would that not be me selling my soul essentially to get a buck, to get a bag? I'm denouncing my faith. I'm going against what I know to be true in my beliefs and my conscience in order to make money. So I don't think you can force people to go beyond their beliefs and their faith just to service a customer when there's other options within the marketplace that would be happy to serve. But I think nowadays the world wants to make everything so personal, and they want to get so offended, and they want to, just get so butthurt. It's like, bro, just move on. You don't got to sue. Just move on. But anyway, it's cool to see that the Supreme Court is considering, backing the Christian graphic designer. But I'd like to know what y'all think. So get in my comments, join the conversation, like this video, subscribe if you have not already. I'm out.